Can I speak?
You can, however you're comfortable.
So, I represent The Wire. I'm one of the founding editors of The Wire, which is a multimedia news publication. We also put videos on our website. तो हमने डिमोनेटाइजेशन पे अगर आप वायर हमारे साइट में जाएं तो पिछले 22 दिन में 22-25 दिन में we have carried at least not less than 20 articles analyzing the impact of demonetization, economics and politics of demonetization. ये दोनों साथ साथ चल रही हैं. ये मेरे हिसाब से this is not just an economic move to attack black money. This has to do with larger politics that we are seeing playing out in this country. This is being linked to national security, this is being to nationalism, cleaning up India in the context of cleaning up India of counterfeit currencies. वो एक स्वच्छ भारत जो है वो भी इसका एक फ्रेमवर्क है और क्लीनिंग अप इंडिया ऑफ टेररिस्ट मनी, ये सारी जो चीज़ें एक साथ ला के एक पैकेज पेश किया जा रहा है कि देश में करप्शन है, देश में ब्लैक मनी का प्रॉब्लम है और उसको सॉल्व करने के लिए ये इतना बड़ा एक अनप्रेसिडेंटेड स्टेप उठाया गया जिसके तहत 86% ऑफ ऑल करेंसी हैज़ बीन विड्रॉन. यू ऑल नो अबाउट इट. हम रोज़ टीवी में भी देख रहे हैं कि किस तरह इट इज़ इम्पैक्टिंग. I'll talk about the 3-4 aspects of this whole decision. I'll give you some data points and then I'll leave it to you to decide for yourself where this political economy is headed. So I'll give you some latest information. Today, the RBI governor in Bombay, he announced, he made his monetary policy statement. He does a quarterly monetary policy statement. So he said two things. A lot of reporters asked him directly, please tell us when Indian citizens will be able to withdraw their own money from banks without restrictions. So RBI's reply was that we are reviewing the situation, we can't tell you the exact date. The RBI also said that we can't tell you exactly when this entire 85-86% of the currency which was abruptly withdrawn on 8th November, when this entire lot will be replaced. So you just imagine the situation, the governance that we are witnessing today. It's nearly a month on since the scale of demonetization never seen in the world before. Which is the custodian of India's legal tender, which is an IOU, the notes that you and I carry, is today saying that they are not sure when these restrictions will be withdrawn so that people can withdraw their money without any restrictions. So why has this situation come about? Now, the government had basically they had two stated objectives in the beginning when Prime Minister Modi announced this on 8th November. One, he said his main objective, he said, was that he wanted to attack black money and corruption. Now, the government's estimate was that if 15.5 lakh crores worth of currency notes are overnight made invalidated, then people would be forced to come and deposit. So people would be forced to deposit the currency into banks and forced to exchange. So their expectation was that of this 15.5 lakh crore which they invalidated, the bulk of it would come back into the banks as legitimate money. But they thought that at least 3.5 lakh crores of this, 3 to 3.5 lakh crores will not come back and will get extinguished because it would be black money, and the owner of this currency would rather sort of just let the money go waste. I mean, let the money die rather than take it back to the banking system. This was their original estimate. Now, 25 days on, what you see today is the Revenue Secretary of the Finance Ministry has given a statement on the front page of Indian Express, where he is saying that almost the entire money is coming back into the banking system. So this one calculation of the government has gone completely awry. So this calculation of the
let's concentrate this side. People will look up.
So this fundamental calculation of the government has completely gone awry, and what we have today, the situation that we have today is that there is no since all the money has come back into the banking system as legitimate deposits by people. So the conclusion is that the government's estimate that there would be 3.5 lakh crores of black money out there which would be extinguished and which would then go to the government as a surplus, which the government can then use as a fiscal giveaway to the people, or to spend in infrastructure, physical or social infrastructure. That hasn't happened. So the point I'm making is there's a fundamental assumption that there is so much black money in cash lying out there has not gone out as of today, going by the Revenue Secretary's statement, which is on the front page of Indian Express. Now, why has this happened? Now, in my view, this has happened because they completely miscalculated at two levels. They made big miscalculation. One, Mr. Modi, the Prime Minister, in order to get the entire country. Now this is the political part. In order to mobilize the entire country on the issue of corruption and black money, he decided that if he withdrew 86% of the currency from the system, it's almost like pulling out 85% of your blood from your body, and then you replace that blood. Now the replacement, the big calculation was that the replacement is now going to take about 8-9 months, and the Finance Minister Arun Jaitley on day one said that you could go and read his interview carried by Network 18, where he said there is absolutely no, quote unquote, absolutely no shortage of cash. In 3 to 4 weeks, substantial amount of this money will be available and will be replaced, and people could start withdrawing their money. Now this is what their estimate, this is what their plan was. Now that plan is now completely out of the window. So the entire nation is, as you all see, has been standing in queues. The queues are still there. On the first salary day, there was massive, commotion all around the country. Today, the embassies in India of various countries, big nations, have written to the government saying that even the embassy staff, embassies are like small towns, right? The US embassy, the China, they have written to the government saying that they've not been able to pay their staff, they've not been able to, conduct day-to-day expenses. So at various levels, this government is having to face such embarrassment only because they completely miscalculated on how soon they would replace this this 85-86% of the currency which they had pulled out on the 8th of November. Now the economics of it, we all are seeing how it has gone completely awry. All these small industry hubs, the informal sector, the agriculture sector are the worst affected. If you see various articles that we've carried on the wire, various economists have spoken about it. Arun Kumar has written a piece. We've also have a video of Arun Kumar who used to teach in JNU on the wire, and they all the economists are agreed on one thing, that the informal sector, the small industries are the worst hit because they employ people on daily wage, they employ people on contracts, a lot of cash payment. 45% of India's GDP is contributed by small industries and informal sector, and 80% of much of these economic activities are conducted in cash. So all this has hit the economy in a big way. So I'm giving the economic impact at the moment. So all economists are agreed that at least in October, November, December quarter, there will be a contraction of GDP, which means instead of GDP growing, there could be negative growth in GDP. As the currency gets progressively replaced from say January, February, as the replacement rate goes up, although the entire thing will take about 8 months, there is an expectation which RBI has also expressed today, the hope that some of the economic activity will come back. But in my view, economic activity will take a while to come back because people today are hoarding cash and people are not spending. So there is a demand shock and there will be a supply shock because these very small units, if they don't receive cash, the next round of production will get affected. And most even bigger industries like the auto sector, two-wheeler people are reporting fall in sales, negative growth in sales of 15 to 20%. Cement, you take any, I'm talking about bigger industry also. Now, on the one hand, these are big industries who are reporting a decline in sales. On the other hand, there are smaller sectors, small and medium sector, whether it's the shoe industry in Agra or the carpet industry in Mirzapur or the hosiery industry in Ludhiana. I mean, they are all coming out on television talking about it. The producers, they are saying that their workers are going back to villages in UP, Bihar. There's a huge migration, which of course the government is saying is temporary. Sooner or later they'll come back to their when production normalizes and the currency gets replaced. So net, there is an estimate that GDP growth in 2016-17 will decelerate by at least 3 percentage points. Dr. Manmohan Singh has said in Parliament that it could decelerate by 2 percentage points. However, he said that it's an underestimate. My own estimate is that it'll be my optimistic assumption is that GDP growth in 2016-17 they should be happy if you get a growth at 4 to 4.5 percentage point, whereas there are many economies who are saying that could fall below that also. Now this could this obviously, I mean, simple economics. If GDP slows, income growth slows, it's going to have an impact on future consumption, future production. So the key question is how long will we take to recover from this? Some people say, well, these shocks, take a while to play out, and then maybe it'll take a year to recover from this. Now, are we ready to? Is our economy sort of today ready to take such a shock? Because economy was already stagnant. Employment growth was already, as you all know, the labor ministry figures. Employment growth was down about 60% in 7-8 key industries which the labor ministry tracks. So the backdrop was that economy was stagnant. The global economic scene was also sluggish, uncertainty. Employment growth was showing negative, number was negative. So in the middle of all this comes this huge shock to the economy, and Jean Drèze has very very visually described this as shooting the tires of a racing car. He's described demonetization as akin to shooting the tires of a racing car. In the sense, what he's suggesting that an economy which was okay, it was sluggish, but was still going at 7%. So where was the need to do this? So the economic rationale for this is something that I cannot understand. It's something that the government has not been able to explain, besides saying that they are attacking corruption and black money. And now coming to the politics of it. In my view, I think this is much more politics than economics. The politics of it is that Mr. Narendra Modi found that many of the promises that he had made in 2014 on the economic front were not coming to fruition. They were not happening. Employment growth was not happening. In fact, many of those parameters that this government said would improve after they took power in June 2014 were not showing any signs of improvement. In fact, many of them were actually going down. So there was restlessness in this government. So this move, in my view, politically, is an attempt by Modi to actually change the goalpost, to divert attention to creating a new kind of politics in his own imagination, where he actually wanted with this precipitate action, he wanted to mobilize this country's population on the issue of corruption, on the issue of black money, on the issue of cleaning up India. Look at his slogans, Naya Bharat 2017 se. So this Naya Bharat has many elements. This is an important one. Naya Bharat has national security elements. Naya Bharat has elements linked to India-Pakistan, what's happening on the border. This Naya Bharat has issues which come from the position of this government on Kashmir. This also has to do with general freedoms being curbed all around, which JNU has been witness to, all in the name of giving India a new, what should I say, a new facelift, Now, this is what, in my view, needs to be understood. I think that this whole attempt by the government, in my view, the demonetization per se is an assault on India's legal tender. This is not my original statement. This was stated by Arun Shourie in one of his interviews, and I completely agree with Arun Shourie. This is it's a pure and unmitigated attack on India's legal tender. It's been done to ensure that people willy-nilly, even while they're suffering, that their attention is driven towards the kind of political landscape that Mr. Modi is trying to build, and that this BJP government is trying to build. And I think demonetization is only a part of this. It's only it's a kind of it's a fuel. It's using it as fuel to fire the imagination of Indian people. Now, what is happening on the ground? Is this strategy working or not? Now, I'm still trying to figure out, because I have a lot of people in the wire. And the owners have gone to the hinterland, gone to UP, gone to Bihar, gone to Bundelkhand, and they're trying to figure out what do people think about this. So the first order emotional response seems to be that people are saying, ठीक है, अमीरों को भी मारा है, तो हम थोड़ा सा सह लेंगे, हम भी लाइन में खड़े हैं, हमारे पास पैसा नहीं है, मगर the rich is also suffering. So my sense is that this is the first order emotional response. But as this crisis deepens, and I'm firmly of the conviction that this government doesn't know exactly how this is playing out. Although they put up a brave front, and they may give you the impression that they are very coldly calculating exactly what's going to happen in the next few months. But I don't think they have an idea as to what genie they have let out of the bottle, what they have unleashed. And the second order response, in my view, of the people will be that anger will grow. Anger is already growing. And as economic distress deepens, it will reflect in the forthcoming elections in Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, later in Gujarat. Now, this government will try to, both Prime Minister Modi and Mr. Jaitley, Finance Minister Jaitley, they have admitted in Parliament that लोगों को तकलीफ है, but they are using the word inconvenience. They are not going beyond inconvenience, which itself shows the sense of denial that they are in. The nature of distress and the depth of distress is still not being admitted by this government. But privately they know. And inside the government, the calculation is that the budget is around the corner. Somehow the government thinks that they'll collect taxes from all these bank deposits that have come, and the income tax department have been let loose on all these depositors. I'm told over 2 lakh notices have gone already to all these depositors, asking them to prove the authenticity of their deposits, whether it's tax paid or not. Now, a lot of people are going to get, ordinary people who would have kept, money 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs in their house, are going to get harassed in the next 2-3 months. This government hopes that they'll collect tax from some of these deposits, and then they will use that as a fiscal giveaway, or as a Mr. Modi has suggested in Moradabad last week that all the Jan Dhan account holders who have been sort of put up as fronts by their employers or by others, other rich people, so-called rich people, there's no research to show how rich they are or who are these people who have put them up. So he's made a extraordinary statement that don't return the money, I'm coming up with a plan. Just imagine, Prime Minister of the country saying don't return the money as yet, I'm coming up with a plan. And at the same time, the same government has come up with an amended Benami Properties Act, in which they have also included cash, where they are saying that the front as well as the person in whose name the property or cash is, as well as the person on whose behalf he is acting, both are culpable. So one doesn't know how PM statement squares with this Benami law that they have brought. Or are they going to amend the Benami Act and say that, okay, all those in whose name, properties are poor people, they can seize their property and refuse to give it back to the people on whose behalf they are holding. These are the kind of confusions that this government has created. Everybody is watching with a sense of shock as to how this entire thing is going to play out. And finally, the state, which was the state's responsibility to collect taxes through governance, to proper use of IT technology, and actually target the real tax evaders among big businesses, big political parties. All of them hold cash. Now, the Revenue Secretary today said that the bulk of the cash has come back into the banking system. Now, can BJP or other parties, or can some of the big businesses tell us whether they were not using 1,000 and 500 rupee notes? If they were also carrying, stacks of these notes, then do they also have front people who are in whose name they have deposited back? So there is absolutely no talk of, the kind of black money that big businesses hold in stock as well as in flow, right? Currently, they are only attacking the currency part. Of course, there is real estate, there is gold. We can go into that. That's a completely whole new, different kind of, debate. So I'm, as a journalist, as somebody who's been following this and writing about it, I have absolutely no idea what this government is planning ahead. All we know is, and all that this government has hinted to the media, to the public, is that somehow they are going to do some Robin Hood economics and get money into the poor people's accounts. In my view, this is not going to happen. It's not so easy to work such ad hoc schemes in a society like ours, which is so multi-layered and which exists at so many levels. So net, I think this is taking us to this leading us somewhere which I cannot predict. Nobody can predict. Economists are completely flummoxed. Even politicians are flummoxed. So one really doesn't know where this is headed. Thank you.